Canada just made a game-changing move. British Columbia is now the site of a major economic push. 18 huge projects, including energy developments, mining expansions, and major upgrades to infrastructure, have been put on the fast track. Pipelines, ports, and clean energy initiatives are all moving forward at an unprecedented pace. What set this all in motion? A warning shot from Washington. When the US ramped up tariff threats, Canada's leaders saw the writing on the wall. Instead of waiting for another blow, they flipped the script. Now, they're taking charge, working to build a stronger, more self-sufficient economy that won't be at the mercy of US trade policies. This isn't just about defense, it's about strategy. Canada is laying the groundwork for a future where its energy and resource sectors stand tall on their own, reducing dependence on its southern neighbor and rewriting its role in North America's economic landscape. Meanwhile, on the US side, those tariffs weren't a random decision. They were part of a bigger vision, America first. The goal? Protect domestic industries from foreign competition, bring jobs back home, and gain more bargaining power in global trade. Sounds simple enough, but in reality, these policies sent shockwaves through industries that depend on cross-border trade. Steel, aluminum, energy, these aren't small markets, and Canada has long been one of the biggest suppliers. For the US, it was a power move, but for Canada, it was a wake-up call. Almost overnight, the country was forced to rethink its economic game plan, and now it's making bold moves to secure its future. Canada didn't sit around waiting. The moment tariff threats started flying in from the US, British Columbia jumped into action, racing to shield its local industries. The solution? Push forward with 18 major projects. Think mining operations, energy upgrades, and big infrastructure plans. Suddenly, these projects weren't just ideas on paper, they became top priority. Mines that had been stuck in endless red tape? Cleared. Pipeline expansions that had been collecting dust? Back in play, now aiming to link Canada's eastern and western provinces more directly. And at the ports? Shore power projects are getting a serious boost. This means cleaner energy for docked ships, less pollution, and smoother operations that make Canadian exports more attractive on the global stage. But here's the thing. This isn't just Canada reacting to US tariffs. It's a full-on strategy shift. The country's leaders saw the cracks in their system and decided to fix them before they split wide open. These 18 projects aren't quick fixes. They're long-term moves to toughen up Canada's economy. The focus? Cut down on weak spots, ramp up exports, and open new ways to bring in money. Take the pipelines, for example. Instead of relying so heavily on US routes to move oil and gas, new east-west connections will keep more of that flow within Canada. Less dependency, more control. Then there's mining. Canada's sitting on a treasure trove of copper, gold, and rare minerals. With these projects greenlit, the country's about to tap into those resources in a big way, giving it a stronger foothold in global markets. And over at ports like Vancouver, shore power upgrades will lower shipping costs and reduce emissions. It's a win for the economy and the environment. But all of this is about more than just pipelines and ports. It's about Canada rewriting its energy game plan. For years, the US was Canada's go-to buyer for oil and gas. But when the tariff threats came in, it exposed just how risky that one-way relationship really was. Now, Canada's switching gears. East-west pipelines are making a comeback, connecting provinces directly and cutting the US out of the middle. Canada is stepping up its energy game in a big way. Wind farms are growing, solar panels are popping up, and renewable energy is taking center stage, all part of a bigger plan to cut back on fossil fuels and diversify the country's energy sources. But this isn't just about going green, it's about being smart. By shaking up its energy strategy, Canada is making its entire system more flexible, able to handle market swings and global shifts without breaking a sweat. The plan is simple. Stay competitive, minimize risks, and keep the economy steady, no matter what curveballs come from the global market. British Columbia is leading the charge, pushing forward a wide mix of projects. We're not just talking energy. Mining, logistics, and green tech are all part of the package. And here's the clever part. These projects don't work in isolation. They're all connected, creating a network where each one strengthens the other. Think about it like this. Mines supply materials that flow straight into new pipelines, speeding up exports. Shore power upgrades at major ports slash fuel costs for cargo ships, making it cheaper and cleaner to ship goods overseas. Energy projects boost Canada's ability to produce and export everything from natural gas to renewable energy, giving the country more independence from U.S. markets. The result? A well-oiled machine that fuels long-term growth, more jobs, stronger exports, and modern infrastructure all rolled into one. One of the biggest curveballs in Canada's new playbook, reopening talks about east-west pipelines. Yep, the idea that many thought was dead is back on the table, and this time, it's gaining traction. But it's not just the big, headline-grabbing projects that matter. Take shore power. It might not sound as flashy as a giant pipeline, but it's a total game-changer for trade. Here's the deal. When cargo ships dock at ports like Vancouver or Prince Rupert, they can now plug into clean electricity instead of burning fuel. That means lower emissions, cheaper operating costs, and a cleaner port environment. And with major upgrades underway, these ports will soon handle bigger ships and more cargo while staying eco-friendly. Why is that a big deal? Because in industries like agriculture, energy, and mining, timing is everything. Faster, cheaper shipping makes Canada's goods more competitive on the world stage. While pipelines often steal the headlines, there's another part of Canada's energy plan quietly making big waves: renewable energy. The government is pouring serious money into wind farms, solar fields, and massive battery storage systems, especially in remote areas where steady power isn't always a given. It's a smart move, building a backup plan that cuts down on fossil fuel use and shields the country from wild price swings in global energy markets. But there's more to it than just clean energy. These renewable projects are also job creators, offering long-term employment in construction, maintenance, and operations. Small towns and rural communities stand to gain the most as these new opportunities boost local economies. Plus, Canada's working to cement its status as a heavyweight in the clean energy export game. This shift isn't just a knee-jerk reaction to tariffs, it's a total game plan rewrite that could elevate Canada's position in global trade. By strengthening its infrastructure, expanding its energy networks, and streamlining export routes, Canada isn't just aiming to hold its ground in North America, it's setting its sights on the world stage. With Europe and Asia actively searching for new, stable energy partners, Canada's timing couldn't be better. Green tech is also becoming a massive growth engine. As global demand for rare minerals skyrockets, Canadian resources are finding new markets fast. And here's where it gets really interesting. The blend of modernized ports, wider pipelines, and booming renewable energy projects could transform Canada into a major international trade hub, one that's less tied to U.S. markets and more plugged into global supply chains. Among all the fast-tracked projects, mining stands out as a top priority, and that's no accident. Canada's leaders see the writing on the wall. The world's hunger for critical minerals like copper, lithium, and rare earth elements is growing fast. These minerals are the backbone of clean energy tech. Think electric cars, solar panels, and high-capacity batteries. Right now, China controls much of the global supply chain, but Canada is ready to change that. The plan? Expand mining operations, supercharge production, and carve out a bigger share of this booming market. This is about more than creating jobs. It's about staking Canada's claim as a key player in the green economy of tomorrow. If Canada pulls it off, its mines could power the global tech industry and position the country as a go-to supplier for the high-demand minerals that fuel the future. And while it's easy to overlook things like ports and pipelines, in a world where speed, cost, and reliability drive trade, infrastructure is everything. For Canada, these massive investments aren't just about fixing roads or upgrading ports. They're about rethinking how trade moves across the country. By improving highways, railways, and port facilities, Canada is setting the stage for faster shipping, lower costs, and easier access to booming international markets. Why does that matter? Well, Countries in Europe and Asia are on the hunt for fresh trading partners, and Canada wants to be first in line. But to compete on that level, you need world-class infrastructure, and that's exactly what Canada's betting on. It's pretty simple. Better infrastructure means a stronger economy. And Canada isn't just thinking about today, it's planning for the next 10, 20, even 30 years. This isn't just a quick fix in response to tariffs or trade tensions. It's a big picture strategy to future-proof the economy, making sure it can handle whatever global markets throw its way. And it's not just about boosting exports or speeding up shipments. It's about giving Canada options, more trading partners, more routes, and less dependence on any single country. If something goes wrong in one market, Canada won't be left scrambling. That's the kind of resilience these projects are designed to build. But let's be real, big moves like this don't come without headaches. Fast-tracking 18 major projects means pushing through a maze of environmental regulations, land use debates, and political tug-of-wars. Then there's the global supply chain drama, delays, shortages, price hikes, any of which could throw a wrench into the timeline. And in a plan this ambitious, timing is everything. The big question is, can Canada finish these projects fast enough to make a real impact when it counts? If everything goes according to plan, Canada could end up with a trade network that's stronger, faster, and more competitive than ever before. But if delays pile up or costs spiral out of control, it could leave the country exposed to the very risks it's trying to avoid. Right now, Canada's at a crossroads. These projects have the potential to reshape the nation's role in global trade, giving it more leverage and new opportunities. But there's also a flip side. If challenges stall progress, Canada could find itself stuck in the same vulnerable spot it's trying to escape. One thing's for sure, the decisions being made today will echo through Canada's economy for decades to come. The US may have lit the fuse with its tariff threats, but it's Canada that's flipping the script. Now the big question is, can this bold strategy keep up the pace and deliver long-term wins? Or will the bumps in the road slow everything down? What's your take? Are these fast-tracked projects Canada's ticket to a stronger, more independent economy? Or is the risk too high? Jump into the comments and let us know what you think.